I'm Major Jeff Wolsinski. I'm the Eastern Operations Division for the Nebraska State Patrol. With me today are many people. A few of them are Chief Tony Hernandez with the Ceresco Police Department, Director Rob Jeffries of the Nebraska Department of Correctional Services, Saunders County Sheriff Chris Littenberg, Lancaster County Sheriff Terry Wagner, Lincoln Police Chief Morrow, and Captain Sean Caradori with Nebraska State Patrol. We're here to provide an update on last night's crash that occurred on Highway 77 just south of Ceresco, which involved multiple vehicles, including a Ceresco Police Department cruiser. We're heartbroken to announce that Officer Ross Bartlett of the Ceresco Police Department has passed away as a result of this crash. Officer Bartlett was a career law enforcement officer for several agencies and has served for the past 7 years as an investigator for the Nebraska Department of Correctional Services. The crash is still under investigation, but I can provide some preliminary details. At approximately 7:37 p.m. last night, Officer Bartlett was conducting a traffic stop on Highway 77 just south of Ceresco. While parked on the shoulder for the traffic stop, his patrol unit was struck from behind by a Ford F-150. First responders arrived on scene in about 4 minutes and found bystanders already providing aid to Officer Bartlett. He was flown to Bryan West Hospital, where he passed away a short time later. The driver involved in the traffic stop suffered non-life-threatening injuries and is being treated at Bryan West. The driver of the vehicle that Officer Bartlett stopped did not have serious injury. Our troopers are conducting a full crash investigation. That investigation will be turned over to the Lancaster County Attorney's Office once it is complete. As you hear in the coming days, Officer Bartlett was highly respected for his dedication to public service. Many of our troopers and investigators knew Ross and his family personally. On behalf of the Nebraska State Patrol, we'd like to extend our deepest condolences to Officer Bartlett's family, friends, and many of his colleagues. Now I'd like to go to Ceresco Police Chief Hernandez.
If I have a little problem trying to think of things, I'm pretty overwhelmed on what happened. Ross came to work for us in 2017. He also was on the Ceresco Fire Department as a volunteer. He really brought a lot to our department. He wrote a lot of our grants. He was real knowledgeable about most of the department's needs. We had special events, and he was a really professional officer, and his personality was outstanding. I'm going to miss him dearly, and I'm blessed that our paths crossed. That's about what I have to say.
Director.
So Ross was hired for the Department of Corrections back in August of 2017. But in addition to his career at NDCS, he worked in various law enforcement agencies across this great state over the last 30 years. Before joining NDCS in the village of Ceresco, he started his law enforcement career as a police officer with the Valentine Police Department. He went on to other agencies to include Boone County Sheriff, Madison Police Department, Madison County Sheriff, and Newman Grove Police. So that just shows his dedication. Ross is committed to NDCS in ways that people cannot imagine, the things that he's done behind the scene. In particular, during our recruitment stage, when we were looking for officers across this nation, Ross took it upon himself to personally reach out across this nation and recruit staff members, and not only bringing them on board, but also follow up with them to see how they're dealing with the resources and what have you. As a adjust to the lifestyle in Nebraska. That just shows his selflessness. So it's not just a loss for us standing behind this podium, but it's going to be a loss to a lot of the lives that he's touched as they've been part of the NDCS family. So it's with our deepest regret, condolences, and what have you, excuse me, to his wife and his daughter as well too, because those lives will be impacted forever on the loss of Ross. So a special thanks to Lincoln Police Department and the services for watching over Ross as we transition. And I also want to say a special thanks to the NSP and their dedication in leading this press conference and getting us all together to celebrate the life of Ross. So I'll leave you with this. He was loved. He will be missed, but he will be forever eternally loved by all. So with that, I'll pass, and God bless the family and our law enforcement community.
So we can entertain some questions now. Just know, though, that as far as the investigation is, it's currently being conducted, so I can't answer very many questions about the actual investigation.
You're partly with WWT. In terms to that, can you elaborate if that driver involved is facing any charges at this point?
All charging decisions, once the investigation is completed, will be determined by the Lancaster County Attorney's Office.
Can you confirm his name, spelling, and age?
Yes, Officer Ross Bartlett, R-O-S-S, Bartlett is B-A-R-T-L-E-T-T. And I don't have his date of birth right now, but we can get that to you.
On that note, will a photo be sent out to?
Yes. If there's no more questions?
Oh, yes. So as far as you said, other vehicles were involved, there's multiple vehicles involved. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, Officer Bartlett was on a traffic stop. It was a typical traffic stop, and then he was struck from behind by another motorist on the roadway. So 3 vehicles total.
Besides that driver, were any other people injured involved?
Nobody else was seriously injured.
What are the next steps as far as this investigation? I know you said it's very unclear right now, but where do you go from here?
So the accident will be reconstructed, and that is takes several steps. They were out there for quite a long time last night. They 3D scan it. We have drones that fly it for measurements. All of that data will be collected and then turned over to the Lancaster County Attorney's Office, at which time they'll review it and decide whether or not charges should be filed.
Can you list all the agencies that were involved?
So there's, I don't want to leave anybody out, but from Saunders County, Lancaster County, Lincoln PD, Omaha, there was agencies and law enforcement officers from all of those counties and cities that helped last night and continue to help with escorts and arrangements for Officer Bartlett.
Would you be willing to clear up whether or not he succumbed to his injuries as far as how his death happened?
Well, I would have to, the autopsy is being conducted this morning, and so I would, before I say anything about that, I would like to see the results of that.
You said last night they were out there for hours?
I think they were out there for 80 minutes last night.
I think the road was closed for about 4 hours.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
I was going to say, I'll finish up. Just final thoughts and emotions about it, this terrible situation, how the department is doing.
You know, I can speak for the Nebraska State Patrol. Many of our officers and investigators worked directly with Ross. An officer on the scene is friends with Ross and his family. And so it'll be difficult in the coming days and weeks. But we have, with the Nebraska State Patrol, we have a lot of support built into our organization, and we're prepared to offer these people whatever support they need. Okay, with that, thank you, everybody.
Ross's date of birth is 3/4/70, which makes him